the ISIS militants are just over the horizon. The man shooting the video says this village in northern Syria has been retaken by Kurdish forces. The clip is tough to verify, but on it there's the sound of a Scottish accent.
ISIS come in, clear out people.
The voice belongs to Alan Duncan, a former soldier who's joined what he describes as a fight against evil. Now back home in the north of Scotland, he insists he's doing the right thing.
The Kurds, they need help.
Is there ethical questions about what you're doing?
The ethics comes down to the Western attitude. If anybody's going wrong here, it's the West, because we're watching other people die fighting our enemy.
At least 25 people have put themselves forward as volunteers to help with assisted suicide, should it become legal in Scotland.
It would not mean acceding to a request like, would you prise open my jaw and pour the drug into my mouth? But it would mean, could you perhaps prop me up a little more on this pillow? And would you now pass me that cup?
Maureen and the other 24 people who've so far come forward say they'd be extending compassion and control to those in too much pain to carry on. Their detractors argue care is always a better option, with journalists gathering the facts at Hampton, Tollcross and Ibrox, then working around the clock to feed audiences in Hamilton, Sydney and Mumbai. The words and pictures they've been sending home have helped determine how the world has seen Glasgow over these past 11 days. But of course, that's not the entire story. Thousands of athletes and tourists have been pounding the streets of the city as well. And whatever Usain Bolt did or didn't say about it, they'll take home their own impressions of the friendly games.
OK, we can, I think, go to our reporter James Cheyne with an update. James.
Yes, Bernard, you'll remember here in Clydebank, Jackie Baillie, Labour frontbench spokesperson and a big figure within the party, was holding on by her fingertips to try and keep this seat, which she's held since 1999. Now, there was a bit of drama on the count floor just a short while ago. They were all but ready to do the declaration to tell us what the result was. They called the candidates together. There was some angry gesticulating, some heated words. And then we've just had what I'm told is called a bundle recount. That's not a complete recount. They don't recount every ballot paper, but they recount the bundles of ballot papers. We understood that Jackie Baillie was 100 votes ahead in that first count.
Are there any signs of the dispute being resolved? This goes back to the 60s.
It does, yes. It was 1962, this temple, a 11th century Hindu temple on the border, was awarded to Cambodia. It lies on Cambodian soil, but the main entrance is on the Thai side of the border.
James Cheyne there in Phnom Penh.
For the past year, a network of scammers has been targeting the city. 7 News swapped emails with one calling herself Katie Eltham. She offered to rent us this beautiful harbourfront property. We could move in quickly at a brilliant price. However, her name isn't really Katie, and she certainly doesn't own the flat in Circular Quay behind me. We tracked down her email address to the UK and found she's using a front company based in the United States. Warner Brothers, in particular, went as far as considering 28 possible sites across the country to solve that problem. Until now, the full list of those places hadn't been revealed, but it included potential locations in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Stirling and Dumfries, among others. One potential match was here at Gartcosh, North Lanarkshire. It met many of the criteria for transport links, power supply and noise levels. One of the only problems was that Police Scotland had got here first.
Breaking news this afternoon, 6 people have been confirmed dead after a bin lorry crashed into a group of pedestrians in George Square. Well, our reporter James Cheyne is in George Square for us now. James, what can you tell us?
Well, John, as you were saying there, 6 people confirmed dead in this horrible accident. And this afternoon at Glasgow city centre, I think it's fair to say, in absolute chaos. Let me tell you what we saw. Much of it came from eyewitnesses as they gathered around the scene. There were tales, as you mentioned, from Karen Greenshields there, of bodies in the street, of blood on the pavement. Much of what the eyewitnesses told us was almost too disturbing for us to repeat on
The
air.
clashes have continued to be sporadic in central London. These are the scenes in Trafalgar Square. Let's just bring you the latest information we have, that a police officer has been injured. James Cheyne has the details for us, so he's on the phone for us now. Tell us more, James.
And what we've seen over the past hour or so is demonstrators testing the police lines at the edge of Trafalgar Square, going to each edge and rushing the riot police gathered there. What we saw about 10 minutes ago was them go to the edge of the Strand to attack the bookshop Waterstones. They were trying to smash the windows there. Riot police tried to stop them, and that's when one of the police was injured. He appeared to be knocked unconscious. He was on the ground and treated by 4 police medics. He was then carried out past the police lines by a couple of his colleagues. It did remain violent after that. As I speak to you now, a portion of the demonstrators are attacking a bus stop. They've been kettled by other riot police, and that situation does appear to be getting quite violent now.
Tomorrow, one of cinema's most famous time travel scenes finally catches up with itself. Now, if you happen to be a big fan of the film trilogy, you'll know it doesn't come much better than driving a DeLorean, with its own hoverboard no less. When Doc and Marty took this car back to the future, they discovered a bunch of trends and new inventions. Some of them have panned out in reality, some of them not so much.
Let's face it, this is a scary sport, but you only need to spend about half an hour with the team to realise just how dedicated and focused they are. This trip to America could see them closing in on some of the top players in the world.